Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, March 24th, 2026. My sincerest apologies for the late upload, technical difficulties, but let's talk about yesterday's episode. Now poor Rachel is gonna get blamed for something she really innocently did to help out a friend. She thought it was only the guys are helping out a friend who thought, it was the right thing to do. Even though she was hesitant, she thought, okay, maybe she is doing Sophia a great favor, helping out a friend, but turns out it's going to backfire. And my hunch is that Sophia is going to turn this all around on Rachel because of Rachel's past actions and how she got in trouble. And this time poor Rachel was innocent of this whole thing. Now Tate and Holly, he dropped off some clothes from, the dorm room on behalf of Ari for Holly, and, they did their alone time, but they didn't get in no further with their alone time because Tate was getting agitated because he took some of the supplements and he was feeling the same mood swings, and he lashed out at Holly, talking about Holly, always make things about herself, and she said she wasn't trying to do that, but then he realized that he was acting the same way as her, and she said, now you understand what I've been going through these past couple of days and weeks. So Tate finally uses one brain cell, put it together that, okay, something is in these supplements. And he tells Holly that Rachel gave the supplements. It's similar to the medications that she's been using. At this time, Sarah gets the blood test results, and turns out that Holly's supplements, they do have antipsychotic medication in there. So now it's making all sense, and Tate is connecting the dots. So now they rush over to Brady and Sarah to really talk about what Rachel possibly is up to. Now, speaking of Sarah, she's there with her baby girl who's still in the hospital. I mean, it seems like a long time she's been in there, but anyways, Maggie's also there, and they're happy that little Victoria is finally going home. Now she asks her how she's doing, and Sarah says she's just really been tired, exhausted, understandably, but she said not really physically. How are you doing with your heart? So she said, she is going forward with allowing Xander to have partial custody. However, the connection is still there, but she's not going to act upon it this time because she needs somebody who's kind of dependable in her life, and that's not Xander. So she can't deal with the hostile tendencies with him, so she's looking for somebody who is the opposite of that. And Maggie's like Brady, so she said, yeah, there's something there, I'm attracted to him, but I just don't want to rush into nothing. I want to take things slow, and there's a lot of variables with that. But Maggie's saying that, look, go with what your heart wants and take your time. Whoever you choose to be with, make it be because you want to be with them, right? At the end of the day, do what's going to bring you peace at the end of the day. Now, speaking of Xander came in to the office, and he has this proposition. It's gonna turn Titan around, and Philip is just distracted by the news that Vivian is allegedly dead or supposedly dead, and he doesn't know how to come to the news. And Xander is talking to him about things are starting up well for Titan, and Philip is not hearing until he apologizes for being distracted, and then he's saying it's about Vivian. So Xander made a remark about what's that old witch up to now. So he said nothing much, she's dead. So he shows him the news headline, and he reads it. Says that she passed away from heart attack, and Philip is saying that he spoke to Ivan, and Ivan is cut up about it, which I just find this really strange to me. This whole thing don't make no sense. But anyways, he said Ivan is caught up about it, and he doesn't really know how to really speak about it. But Philip is all over the place because understandably Vivian carried him. She was his surrogate mother, so he has some kind of feelings towards her dying. But everything was really just complicated, and of course he does see Kate as his real mother, but at the same time there's some feelings there towards Vivian, and they didn't really end things on good terms. So he's kind of all over the place, and he didn't think that Vivian would even die. Like, she would live forever. I mean, yeah, that's true. And Xander saying, he thought the same about Victor, and Philip agreed with him. And, he said, how can he even feel any type of way towards a person who's just, provided harm towards all kind of people outside of, him. So Xander said he can definitely relate to that. And, he just said, chin up, and yeah, that was it. Now, Brady is speaking with Rachel, and, they're getting ready for a custody hearing, and she starts to she's telling Brady that she has a card for Victoria. She knows he's gonna go over there to the hospital to see Sarah, so she just wanted to give it to him. So he's saying, that's really nice of you, but why do you think I'm just gonna go over to Sarah? So she said, because you care about her and you guys are more than friends and you really like her. So he said, yeah, we do like each other, but we just didn't want to go into it because we were trying to spare your feelings. That's what I really hear at the end of the day. So he's trying to spare her feelings, and she said, you don't really have to do that no more and protect me. Like, I'm okay with you and Sarah being more than friends. I really like Sarah, and I'm sorry about what I did to her, and I understand she wasn't in her right mind when she took me away from you and Mom. So she is ready to forgive her because Sarah already forgave her for her actions. She's worried about the custody hearing and that the judge may bring up what she did to Sarah. And not Eric or EJ, but Brady said to her that, all right, you don't have to worry about that. It's about your Uncle EJ, and everything is going to go well. And even if that is brought up, Sarah already forgave you, and she doesn't hold that against you, right? Now, I really don't know how to feel about this whole thing with Liam at Ari's dorm room, shirtless. I mean, they didn't do anything intimate, but still, this older guy in, undergrad's room, Ari is what age? She's not even 21 yet because she's still using fake IDs. So I know Liam is over 21. He has a son. It's just too much variables with him. Too much baggage, honestly. I don't like that for my girl Ari here. But anyways, I mean, she didn't even learn. It doesn't seem like she learned nothing from her whole encounter with Doug. She just liked the really bad boys. And I'm not talking the ones that, ride motorcycles and that's about it. The ones that actually have a long rap sheep, long as the River Nile. And I'm just saying, she can do a lot better. She see what her mom went through. Like, do better. It's okay to have fun and, go on motorcycle and do what Sierra and Ben do. But yeah, Ben is another story. He's, he has his issues, mental issues. But not to really, go off topic, but I just feel like Abigail really push Ben to be psychotic, right? I just feel like she had a part to play in it, not blaming her completely, but she had a part to play in it by, running around with Chad behind his back and lying to him. But yes, let's get back on topic. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, back to him and Ari. Like, Ari went out for some breakfast to, fuel him and take care of him, and he didn't really want to take up much of her time, but she insisted, and she put a sock on it to just think that, okay, Holly's here with her boyfriend doing what they normally do. So Liam is there. He takes the time to call EJ or send a voice note to EJ that the guy was definitely in Salem. He also talked to his son and told him that he's gonna be home soon. Now, while he was doing that, Gabby's knocking at the door. Gabby's like, Ari, I need to talk to you, and I can see that Asak is here, so I don't care who you're with or what you're doing, I need to speak to you. So anyways, she's there still knocking, and then she starts to count down, and Liam puts on a shirt real quick and go answer the door. Now Gabby's like, who the hell are you, and where's my daughter? So before he could really make up a proper story, the only thing he could come up with, his name is Gage, and he's studying with Ari. So Gabby's like, you're not even, you don't even look like a student that goes here. You look real older. So Ari comes in. Ari's like, he's a non-traditional student. We're studying together. So she said, oh. So Ari said, I just brought back food for the fuel and blah, blah, blah. And Gabby's like, you expect me to really believe that? So She said, it's the truth and we're studying, blah, blah. So she goes because, Ari said that they have to go back to quote unquote studying. Now, Gabby leaves and Ari gives Liam the bagels or whatever, and Liam is saying that he doesn't really want to eat anything. He just needs to leave, right? He doesn't want anybody to come suspect Ari's room. Ari said that nobody else should come and bother them. She's that desperate to hold on to Liam and have him there. So he sits there and he eats the bagel, and then she said that she's going over some internship work because he thought that she had schoolwork and didn't want to distract her, but she said it's some romance novel she's comparing. So she asked him to help with the comparison, and he to read them, and of course we know Liam has struggled with literacy, so he's pretending to read in his mind, and he's saying they're similar, and that's all he could do. So he didn't really provide much help to her because she's thinking that the novels at the mirror is similar to what she's read, and I'm assuming it is about Stephanie's novel. So Ari can do a lot better. And I'm not talking about the fact that the guy has literacy problem, but the fact that he's not really becoming truthful. I guess it's early too, because she did even say also about the fact that she's related to Johnny and the Demiras. He's surprised again that, wow, she's related to everybody in Salem. I mean, welcome to Salem, Liam. Liam said that he didn't really have much extended family. He's just been living with his mother. So Ari said, anybody else that you're connected to? So he didn't mention his son, but I guess maybe he's just trying to be protective of them, or he's just not wanting to, provide Ari that information, considering it's been, it's really too soon for that. But if he does not provide that information at some point, then this is just a recipe for disaster. Now, speaking of recipe for disaster, Gabby comes in to, comfort Philip because she heard about what happened to Vivian, and, she understands how, the dynamic was between Philip and Vivian, considering Vivian carried him. But at the same time, he talked to Gabby about how it ended on bad terms and how, she has criticized him. It has been up and down with their relationship. It's very dysfunctional. But he still feels bad about that she met her demise like that. Now, Gabby understands it because she can relate with the whole Stefan thing. And I'm saying, if she brings up Stefan yet again, I'm telling you. Anyways, she talks about how even if they did make it work and Vivian didn't do what she did, they wouldn't work out for the long term because it's always arguments and up and down. And then she talks about their relationship, how it hasn't been one argument in 6 months. And I'm saying, Gabby, you're too old to not know this. This is the honeymoon phase at this point. Come on, you guys have been dating for 6 months. It is a honeymoon phase. But anyways, she likes what it is, and Philip appreciates how kind, compassionate she is, and he tells her that he loves her. And he said, oh, forget about it, I'll take it back. So she said, no, don't take it back, I also love you too. And they kiss, and I'm just saying, boy, the recipe for disaster. Now back to Maggie and Sarah. So they're talking about Sarah, what she needs to choose, follow her heart. And then Brady walks in, and Maggie's like, perfect timing, and he's like, perfect time for us. So she said, never mind. So he was there, and then Xander comes in, and everything is awkward. So Xander is like, what is he really doing here? Now, Brady said that he had a card from Rachel to give to Victoria, and Sarah accepts it. And, Xander just had to make his comments about, how sweet, now you can just leave now, right? I'm sure you have other things to do. So Maggie takes him out of the room and speaks to him in the main area, talking about, you need to change your tone with Sarah and Victoria. He said, okay, I'll work on it. So she said, look, you're moved on with Gwen, and you and Sarah are officially divorced, so why do you care if she's moving on with Brady or she's doing whatever with Brady? Why do you care? So he said, because I still do care about her, still love her, she's the mother of my child, and even though we are not great together, I still do have feelings for her. So I am just kind of like, shocked that you want her to move on so badly or so quickly. So she said, I just want my daughter to move on and be happy. So he said, even with Brady, so she said, regardless, I just want her to be happy and be at peace, and you two just not working out. Now at this point she talks about Vivian being dead, and she's happy because again Vivian did put her into a sarcophagus, so she's not shedding no tears. And Xander said the same thing. So Xander also said, she was the reason why Titan plundered. Now he talked about business and that he has some plans to bring Titan back up since the loan payment is due and the house is on collateral. So he told Maggie about it. Now back to Brady and Sarah. Sarah talked about how sweet the card was. She gets a notification about the test results, and that's when she told Holly about it when Brady left privately. So at this point Brady comes in and he's like, everything okay? Before she can really say anything, Holly and Tate run in and they talk about the supplements, that actually the psychotic medication is similar to what Rachel takes. And Holly talked about how it got mixed up at baby, and I'm just saying, how come she don't bring up the part about Sophia knocking her bag down and the supplements being thrown about? Maybe Sophia had something to do with it, but Holly is going to take a while to think about that. But who knows, maybe she might think about it on the next. But let's see how this goes. I mean, poor Rachel getting blamed for this whole thing again, and Brady thinking that Rachel is up to no good. Oh gosh, the poor kid. But anyways, guys, that's it for today's episode, or yesterday's episode. Comment below your thoughts on it. Let's discuss further. What are they gonna do regarding Sophia? Let me know. I'll see you guys on the next recap.